Now we have a question number 3 on the screen. How useful is the study of the nature of body cavity? They are talking about coelom. How useful is the study of the nature of body cavity and coelom in the classification of animals? Alright. So you all are aware of what is body cavity or what is actually coelom. So we know that what is coelom. Coelom or coelomic cavity or cavity, body cavity is actually the cavity or a space which is fluid filled and is present between the gut wall of our digestive tract and the body wall. So the simple definition of coelom is the space which is filled with fluid and is present between the body wall and the digestive tract wall or gut wall. The space is known to be coelomic cavity or body cavity. This is the simple definition of coelom. Then the question is asking that the study, how useful is the study of coelomic cavity in the animals? It is very important, very, very important. The study of nature of coelomic cavity in different animals is very important, as we know that what is coelomic cavity, and the coelomic cavity is basically of 3 types. Alright, on the basis of presence of coelomic cavity, what kind of coelomic cavity is present in animal and whether the animal have coelomic cavity or not, on the basis of presence of this thing, on the basis of presence of cavity, body cavity or coelomic cavity, we can classify different animals into different categories. So for this fundamental feature, which is a fundamental feature, coelomic cavity is a fundamental feature, and this sets the basis for classification of animal kingdom. So coelomic cavity, if you are talking about, then we have first of all we will write what is coelomic cavity. So coelomic cavity is the fluid filled space present between the body wall and the gut wall of animal. So this is the simple definition of coelomic cavity. Then now we have a coelomic cavity as a fundamental feature which sets the basis of classification for all animals in the whole animal kingdom. We have 3 types of cavity. That is, very first we have is coelomic cavity, or the animals are classified on the basis of presence of coelom or the type of coelom present in them. First category of animal is known as coelomate animals. So first category we have is of coelomate animals. Now in these animals, what happens? They have true cavity. They have true cavity. They have true cavity. That means they have body cavity between the wall, their body wall and gut wall. That body cavity is filled with fluid, and the cavity is lined by mesoderm. This kind of cavity having lined by mesoderm, this kind of cavity is actually the true cavity, true coelomic cavity, and the animals exhibiting this kind of coelomic cavity are known as true coelomate animals or coelomate animals. For example, we have some phyla in the animal kingdom who have true coelomic cavity, such as mollusks, arthropods, echinoderms and chordates. We are chordates. So chordates have true coelomic cavity. Then we have pseudocoelomate animals. Pseudocoelomate animals. Now, what happens in them? They also have a cavity. True cavity. Sorry, no, not true cavity. They also have a cavity. They also have a cavity which is filled with the fluid and is present between the body wall and gut wall. Now, but most important thing is, the cavity is not lined by mesoderm and is present in the coelom as scattered pouches. You will find scattered pouches of mesoderm into the coelomic cavity of some animals. These kind of animals are known as pseudocoelomate animals, and the cavity is known as pseudocoelomic cavity. For example, we have Aschelminthes, which are the roundworms. They exhibit this kind of cavity. They have cavity in them. Roundworms have coelomic cavity in their body, but the cavity is not lined by mesoderm, as well as in their cavity you can find the mesoderm which is scattered and in a pouch-like structure. Alright, so this kind of cavity is known as pseudocoelomic cavity, and the animals having this kind of cavity are known as pseudocoelomate animals. Last one we have is acoelomate kind of animals. Acoelomate animals. Now, what does the animal have? They do not have any cavity. You will find absence of cavity in them. There is no cavity present between their body wall and their gut wall. For example, we have platyhelminthes. Flatworms, they are dorso-ventrally flattened. Their body is actually dorso-ventrally flattened, so there is no chance of having cavity between their body wall and gut wall. So I hope you are clear with this, that what is coelomic cavity? Coelomic cavity is the cavity or a space which is fluid filled and is present between the body wall and gut wall. And on the basis of presence of cavity, this coelomic cavity, we classified the animals into three different categories, such as coelomate animals, pseudocoelomate animals, and acoelomate animals. In coelomate animals, they have true cavity which is lined by mesoderm. They are known as coelomate animals. For example, we have mollusks, arthropods, echinoderms, chordates. And if we talk about the next one, that is pseudocoelomate animals, they are having cavity, but the cavity is not lined by mesoderm. Rather, it is present in the pouch form and is scattered in the cavity. They are known as pseudocoelomate animals, and the example we have is Aschelminthes, roundworms. And the last one we have is acoelomate category of animals, in which all the animals who do not have cavity, who do not have coelomic cavity between their body wall and gut wall, are put into this category and are known as acoelomate animals. For example, we have platyhelminthes because they are dorso-ventrally flattened and there is no chance of having cavity in their body. So this is the complete solution of question number 3.